journey to motherhood doesn't look exactly like what I thought it would. And I became mom in November of 2001 to Lorena, and Lorena was Brad's daughter, and she was 20-something then. Mm-hmm. And so I inherited, not in the typical way. I thought, in my life I would have a family of my own from birth on up, and I got actually lucky enough to get one who'd already been through all that stuff. She's great. We've always had a good relationship. I feel really fortunate that she actually calls me mom. We threw out the step word a long time ago because it just didn't feel like it fit us.
I knew who Lorena's mother was the day I realized that when she called, she was asking for Britton, not me. And I love that.
When we got married, we actually tried to start a family of our own, and that didn't work out for us. We went through a stint of infertility. And I remember going to Brad one afternoon and just being kind of done with that. I was exhausted. It was emotional. We had gone as far as we felt comfortable going in that process. And so I did what any rational woman would do and bought a 2-seater car that wouldn't fit a car seat to make up for that. That was just kind of my way of, I think, dealing with that, and he was sweet enough to go along with it.
And by the way, it was a lot of fun.
It was.
Just saying.
It was a lot of fun. So there were things that I held on to super tightly. I liked things clean and neat. And when I started to release some of those things, starting with the car, then with our house.
We had this realization that it was not our house, it was God's house. And that for that to play out in our life, we were going to have to let go control of everything being our way and using it for our purposes, and that we were going to just simply be open to what needed to be done. One of the first things was Britton got an 11-foot table, and we moved our living room into our dining room and our dining room into our living room, and that became the central hosting spot where people gathered in our home. So that was really the first thing that we did.
Kid at Heartland, BK. I had met him at Ozark Family Adventure and just noticed him, thought he might be a part of my life at some point, not really sure why, and then a year went by. So at church at the Welcome Center, BK walks by. He comes over to talk to me at spring break and tells me he's interviewing for an internship, and that's where out of my mouth just rolls out, "Hey, you could live with us this summer. We took in somebody last summer." And then I remember saying, "I need to ask Brad." And I came home that evening, and before I could even tell Brad that, he's watching 60 Minutes, and there's a story about the South Sudan and the war that's there, and he's totally distraught.
Something must be done.
Yeah, and so later on the evening, he was like, "We've got to do something." I go to work that Monday, and Shabu, our middle school pastor, comes bopping into our lunchroom, and he was like, "Hey, I just interviewed BK for the internship. He said he might have a place to live with the gal from the Welcome Center." And I'm like, "Yeah, I kind of threw that out there yesterday." And I said, "Well, by the way, what's his story? Where's he from?" And he's from Sudan, So I thought that was I called Brad immediately. I'm like, "You will not believe that BK is from the Sudan." The next weekend, he comes over to the Welcome Center and with a guy, and he's like, "Hey, do you still have another room? My friend Jordan here needs a place to stay too." So last summer, we got both of them for the summer, May until end of August, and not their mom, but opened up our lives to them and learned so much from them. It was really rewarding for us, and they're now a part of our family. And again, family doesn't have one definition. It looks different for everybody. And I actually have a little Post-it note on my desk that says, "Sometimes we don't get what we want to get something better." And I don't think mine's better for anyone else, but it's probably, I think God has what's best planned for me. It just looked differently than I thought it would. When I look back through my motherhood journey, He has actually been so faithful and delivered the desires of my heart in loving kids and young adults and nieces and nephews and godkids and neighbors' kids, all the people who have been in and out of our house. He's just been so faithful, And I just had to see that because it looked different than what I anticipated. And just really grateful for that faithfulness in that I'm not missing out. It just looks differently.